Hodiny hlásí, že 15. hodina, 30. minuta už jsou za námi, takže pojedeme pomalu zase dál. Teď nás bude čekat krátký 20-minutový talk, opět člena Students for Liberty. Občas se nás jako členů někdo ptá, k čemu to celé je, k čemu vlastně Students for Liberty tady jsou, vždyť se přece nic nezmění, nic se neděje. No o tom, jestli se něco mění nebo jestli se něco děje, jak to celé funguje, nám bude povídat náš regionální programový manažer Stefana Acimovice. Já už ho vítám na pódiu. Welcome, Stefan. It's up to you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. As Radek said, my name is Stefana Acimovice, and I'm the European Programs Manager for Students for Liberty. A little bit about myself. I joined Sfl back in early 2019. I actually joined after attending a partner conference here in Prague. I got introduced to some SFLers who then invited me to join the LC program and have been with SFL ever since. Before joining the European program staff, I was the regional coordinator for Western Balkans. I'm from Belgrade, Serbia. I've been with the programs team since March of this year. So this talk is going to be a little bit about who SFL is, what our mission is, what our vision is. It's going to be about the local coordinator program, what sort of activities we are doing and what we hope to achieve with our students. And hopefully by the end of it, some of you might consider applying for SFL or joining us as volunteers, joining us as local coordinators, or just keeping up with what we're doing here in Central Europe. So first of all, let me talk about the mission and the history of SFL. So SFL, or Students for Liberty, was founded back in 2008 in the United States. It was founded by a group of students who came together at a conference and realized that there is no nationwide libertarian student organization. There were conservative organizations on campuses, there were liberal organizations on campuses, but there was no libertarian organization that was meant for students and that was across the United States. So they came together and they tried to organize a conference at Columbia University in New York in the winter of 2008. They expected about 30 people to come to the conference. They ended up having more than 100 applicants. On the day of the conference, there was a snow front, so there was a blizzard. They thought that was it. There wasn't going to be any conference, but people still showed up. It was a great event. There was a lot of networking, and they realized that this is an idea that can work, and that they can set up a nationwide student organization made for students who held libertarian views in the States. In the next few years, SFL expanded globally. I think the first event in Europe was back in 2011. Currently, SFL is presented on every continent. When it comes to our mission, so what's the mission of SFL? Why do we exist? Our mission is to educate, develop, and empower the leaders of tomorrow. So Students for Liberty educates young people about the philosophy of liberty. We do this in two ways, by helping young people learn about the principles of free society and by identifying those young people who already support liberty and provide them with the resources they need to spread the ideas. When it comes to developing, just 1 second, right? When it comes to developing the leaders, we do this by developing the leadership skills of those who support liberty. To affect change, it's not enough for somebody to intellectually agree with us. They have to be able to take action and bring about changes in their countries, in their regions. This is why SFL is providing training and support to develop the leadership skills of our volunteers. The goal is to help them be more effective organizers, managers, writers, speakers, and overall better leaders today and tomorrow. And finally, we empower our leaders and alumni who've passed our program in the hopes that they will make the world a freer place. When it comes to our vision, it's a vision of a freer future. We want to do that through a network of leaders advancing liberty in all aspects of society. As I said, it's a network, it's a global network. SFL in itself is not a top-down or a chapter-based organization. Instead, SFL functions as a global network of pro-liberty students from a very diverse very diverse backgrounds. Sfl is there to provide the resources and the support for our students to do what they think is best when it comes to spreading the ideas and the values that we hold. What Sfl provides is specialization, so specialized skills, innovation, self-ownership, meaning that you, the students on the ground, are the ones that are making decisions, that are deciding what sort of events will be organized, what sort of activities will be done, and cooperation with fellow organizations across the globe. In Sfl, we believe in choosing your own path. So you're the ones that decide what you want to do and how you want to contribute. You're the ones who are supposed to bring changes to society. What that means is that as programs manager, I don't tell the Czech team to organize a conference on stateless solutions. That comes from the Czech team itself. I'm here simply to provide them with the support and the resources they need. So in Sfl, you're free to do whatever you think is best, whatever you're interested in. We have a way of providing resources for you to do that and provide you with the skills that you will need to be very successful at it. When it comes to programs that Sfl has been doing globally and in Europe primarily, I just wanted to show you some numbers and some of the things that we've been doing. So this is Sfl event attendance. As you see, last year during the pandemic was a really great year for us. We were able to reach almost 1 million people, primarily through webinars, but this is still a huge result for us. It means that Sfl has been reaching out to an ever wider audience of young people interested in our ideas, be it political ideas, be it economical ideas, being social ideas. There's people out there who follow Sfl simply because of what we do when it comes to cryptocurrency, but there's some other people who follow us because of the things we do when it comes to government regulation. This is one of our highly successful projects. It's called Learn Liberty. It's an online educational channel that has reached over 5 million people since it was started by Sfl back in 2020. They have a YouTube channel as well as a blog that publishes scholars, intellectuals, students, entrepreneurs, and such. This is their YouTube channel. It's been growing exponentially. In the last 2 years, they've started winning awards for their videos and the articles that they have published. In Europe, we have something similar on a smaller scale. It's called Speak Freely. It's a student blog that was launched years ago. Last year, it's sort of the team that was in charge. They finished their studies, so they moved on from Sfl, and we're currently relaunching Speak Freely, hopefully this winter. We're always looking for contributors, to writers who want to write on the ideas of liberty. So this is something that we're doing in Europe and hopefully will help us spread the message. When it comes to the programs that Sfl runs for its own students, it's primarily the local coordinator program. That's our premier program. There's about 240 local coordinators in Europe currently. But Sfl provides training for students that are not only part of Sfl, but students who follow Sfl. And so we have Sfl Academy, which is an online educational platform. Some of the trainings that we provide online is Why Liberty in 7 minutes or less, which is training on how to do a pitch meeting. We provide debating training, fundraising and development training, as well as specialized training for our leaders. So we have trainings for local coordinators, for national and regional coordinators. So this is management training, as well as how to write for liberty. So how to become a writer. One thing that's very important to Sfl globally is our success stories. We're always looking out for new Sfl success stories, students that achieve amazing things in part due to their experience in Sfl. These are some of the examples, like Emily, who is changing the youth politics in Sweden, and Giuseppe and Marcel, who won state elections in Brazil. Currently, former Sflers are members of parliaments. They're assistants to ministers, they're mayors, they're CEOs of successful startups, they're crypto investors, etc. Looking at the number of success stories we've had in the last 13 years since Sfl has come into existence, we're very hopeful that as time goes and as Sfl grows, we can really change the world simply by the number of people that Sfl has produced and what we've seen them accomplish in their careers after they finish their studies. Going back to Europe a little bit, so just wanted to give you like a broad perspective of what's happening in Europe. So European Students for Liberty is separated into 13 regions. There's currently 240 local coordinators and around 900 affiliated program volunteers that are managed by local coordinators in different countries. So we have volunteer programs primarily in Spain, Turkey, and Portugal. There's over 800 volunteers in Spain alone, and those 800 people are managed by about 30 local coordinators across the country. When it comes to events, last fiscal year, which ended on May 1st, 2021, Students for Liberty globally organized over 2,500 events. We had an attendance of 600,000, and we did that with about 3,500 student volunteers. In Europe this year, so since May 1st till today, we have organized 75 events. Unlike previous year, this has been mostly in-person events. So Sfl was very early on in the pandemic, we jumped on doing webinars. We were sort of ahead of the curve. And again, this year, as countries opened up, we started doing live events a lot faster than most other organizations or student organizations. So this year, up until last week, we've done 75 events. We had an amazing attendance rate and a huge number of live stream views on the webinars that we do host. Oh, sorry. There's a problem with the next slides are just pictures of a few events that we've done. For some reason, it doesn't work. I think it changes here. Sorry, technical issues. So I just wanted to show you in the end a few pictures of some of the sort of events that we've been doing across Europe. So this was a conversation with David Boaz, who is the Executive Vice President of Cato Institute. This was done by our UK team. They've been doing a series of interviews with international libertarians. They've been very, very successful. This was an event organized in Jerusalem. It was about cannabis legalization. This was the first in-person event that we did since the start of the pandemic. There were about 30 attendees, and it was about legalizing cannabis. But most importantly, there were members of the Israeli parliament who were there, who were the speakers, as well as activists. This was Liberty Evening in Bitla. Liberty Evenings are something that we do across Europe. This one was on the topic covering reformed ex-convicts and human rights. This was the Technology State Individual Conference in Tbilisi. We have a very strong team in Georgia. They've been doing some really amazing stuff. This was a tech-oriented conference. It had over 70 attendees. And the Georgian team did a series of webinars that promoted this conference. This was the Libertarian Great Evening in Paris. This was voted our best event of the last fiscal year. What the French team did was, once France was open for hosting in-person events, the French team organized an event for pro-liberty organizations from across France and Belgium to come to Paris and just network. It was basically just a way for partner organizations to get back to each other after a year and a half. There were over 80 attendees representing numerous different organizations, and they all came together because of Sfl. When it comes to this sort of events, Sfl hosts conferences like this. We host LibertyCon once a year, which is our premier conference. Back in 2020, just before the pandemic, we had LibertyCon in Madrid. Before that, it was in Belgrade. Before that, I believe it was in Prague at Charles University. That's one of the main events that we do once a year. We try to attract between 600 and 1,000 students from across Europe to come. We're currently planning another one for April of 2022. For our students, we also organize leadership retreats or coordinator retreats that are done regionally, and then there's the top leadership retreat. So our local coordinators, members of the program, they get to meet up once a year for an in-depth training sessions. It usually lasts 2 to 3 days in the regions. And then for our top students in the summer, we organize a camp. There's about 100 of us, and we go through different trainings. The year before the pandemic, is in Germany. This year it was organized in Serbia. So that's an outline of what Sfl looks like globally, and in Europe. There's a lot of us, as I said. Our biggest group is in Brazil, where there's over 800 local coordinators, and they've organized political movements. They've been elected into parliament and into state houses. We have a huge presence in Latin America. We're currently doing some amazing stuff in Africa, where it turns out something like 50% of all liberty-oriented NGOs in Africa have actually come from Sfl alumni. We're currently launching Sfl Middle East and North Africa. It's one of our bigger projects right now. So Sfl is always, it's a good home for anybody who's interested in our ideas. It does provide a huge network, especially in Europe. We're all very well connected. Most of the LCs know each other simply because of the number of activities, the number of international events that we do. It's very difficult to come into Sfl and not know people from a bunch of countries within the next 6 months. So yeah, that's my pitch to why you should join Sfl or join the revolution. Yeah, if anybody has any questions about the organization, you can ask me now, or you can find me. I'll be here for the after party, or you can reach out to Jan, our regional coordinator, or Stefan, who's our national coordinator here in Czech Republic. Thank you.
So if there are any questions, are there any? Nope.
Like nobody wants to know who finances us, or like, no? Okay.
So I hope right now everyone understands Students for Liberty better. Thank you, Stefan. Teď máme před sebou přibližně 10minutovou pauzu. Potkáme se tady potom u dalšího talku od 4. hodiny, kdy nám sem přijde Sodomák povědět něco o paralelních společnostech. 10 minut před námi, v 16 se tady potkáme, zatím se běžte občerstvit, je tam připravené kafíčko, je tam i nějaký koláč, co jsem zaznamenal. Případně, kdo ještě nestačil nebo kdo přišel později, tak vlevo vzadu můžeme vidět stánek Liberálního institutu. Martin Pánek už je tam připravený. Nabízí vám tam všechny možné knížky nejenom o ekonomii, případně si tam můžete zakoupit i komiks Otevřené hranice, někteří ho možná už znáte. Po pravé straně potom vzadu naši partneři z 3D tisku Printify, už nás zdraví. Můžete se podívat, co všechno dokážou dneska vytisknout 3D tiskárny, případně se s nimi poradit nebo si u nich zakoupit nějakou pěknou klíčenku. Naše materiály jsou samozřejmě k dispozici pořád, a to buď u vstupní haly nebo rovnou za námi. My budeme samozřejmě moc rádi, pokud nám za ně dáte nějaký příspěvek, případně nás kdykoliv můžete odchytit, na cokoliv se zeptat nás, případně i předchozích řečníků. V 16 hodin se tady znovu potkáme, bude teda další přednáška.